Here's my honest opinions and first impressions on summer 2025 anime, plus some similar anime recommendations. Clevatess, this is the coolest and most promising anime this season in my opinion. It's a dark fantasy action anime about demon beasts that surround humanity's realm on all four directions. Each direction is controlled by one demon beast lord. A party of heroes is formed to defeat one of them in the hopes of opening a path for humanity to explore the outside world. In this party, we have the protagonist, who is a female hero trained in the ways of the sword since she was a child. The main plot in the anime is about how she has to raise a baby who is the key to save humanity from destruction. This is not an isekai, but it's about overpowered characters, which is pretty cool. If you liked anime like Overlord and Claymore, you'll probably like this. Secrets of the Silent Witch, another anime about overpowered characters that is not an isekai, which is good. This anime is about an extremely shy girl who is very good at math and also happens to be one of the most powerful sorcerers alive, the Seven Sages. She is capable of defeating dragons all by herself with ultimate spells. The Silent Witch is known about by everyone in the kingdom, but nobody recognizes her normally because she is so shy that she never appears in the spotlight and never talks to anyone. In this series, someone seems to be plotting the assassination of the prince of the kingdom, who is studying at an academy, so a sage should be sent to protect him. However, he doesn't want protection. What is this prince so stubborn? Just accept your bodyguard. You are causing everybody problems. Anyway, the Silent Witch is dispatched to guard the prince because nobody knows her anyway, so they won't be able to tell she's a sage. That's right, this is a high school anime. And of course the prince is in the student council, so it's a student council anime. All she wanted was to live a quiet life in the woods. Why does she have to do this? If you like anime with shy characters like Bocchi the Rock, or anime with epic magic spells like Frieren Beyond Journey's End, you'll probably like this anime. Uglymug Epicfighter, another anime about overpowered characters, but this time it's an isekai, which is bad. Terrible. At least it's one of those funny isekai and not one that takes itself seriously. The protagonist of the series is your average Japanese salaryman, except he has an ugly face and no luck with women. He has so little luck with women that he was falsely accused of groping a woman in a train, leading his life into a downward spiral. He ends up as a NEET in his room, full of trash, and decides to reincarnate in another world following instructions he found on the internet. That seems legit. Anyway, during character creation, instead of just giving himself 999 charisma and turning himself into a male model, he decides to double down and give himself negative looks. The trauma of being falsely accused turned him into a woman hater. He notices that giving himself negative points grants him bonus points to put on his other attributes, so he goes even further and gives himself a debuff that says he will lose 10% of his health every time he touches a woman. Yes, this man is an idiot. That gives him trillions of points, enough to make him the absolute god in another world. Now reincarnated, he meets 3 other people who have reincarnated in another world following the same process. He wants to part ways and to live a quiet life in another world, but he ends up noticing that one of them is a very sheltered girl who doesn't seem to understand anything about the world and becomes protective of her. This anime is a bit funny. It's not the best anime of this genre, but if you enjoy comedy anime with overpowered characters that protect other characters in secret like the disastrous life of Seiki or the daily life of the immortal king, then you might enjoy this. Apocalypse Bringer Mynoghra. World Conquest starts with the civilization of ruin. This is an isekai anime about a boy that dies in the hospital playing his favorite game and reincarnates in the world of the game. What makes this anime different from all the other isekai anime that follows this exact same generic plot is that the game he was playing wasn't an RPG, an MMORPG, or a dating simulation game with RPG elements, but a 4x turn-based strategy game like Sid Meier's Civilization. Consequently, he doesn't start his new life as some nobody fighting slimes and low-level monsters, but already as the absolute dark god of his evil-aligned empire. Don't get your hopes up so quickly, though. Although his favorite civilization is evil, this isn't evil. It's that evil that just looks evil and abhorrent, but all the protagonist wants is to live a quiet life, managing his domestic affairs. He's going for the pacifist run. As usual with this sort of plot, if the evil guys are good, that means the good guys are going to be evil, so expect some holy empires and churches to start attacking our poor protagonist for no reason whatsoever. Will our protagonist be able to solve things amicably with diplomacy, or will he need to change plans and go for a genocide run? If you enjoy isekai anime with base-building elements and you wish there was more about that, such as that time I got reincarnated as a slime and Tsukimichi moonlit fantasy, then you might enjoy this. Keep in mind that it lacks in the action department, it feels closer to a slice of life, so don't expect much. I'm watching it because it's entertaining and a rather original concept. The summer Hikaru died. This is a scary anime full of suspense about 2 boys, Yashiki and Hikaru, who live in a small town next to a mountain where eldritch abominations tend to appear. Some of the villagers have supernatural abilities, capable of sensing the horrors beyond human comprehension. Lately, strange incidents seem to be occurring around the town, and the protagonists end up getting involved in them. It's an anime with very high production values that is really creepy and grotesque. You can almost taste the anxiety of the characters in some of the cuts, so it's definitely worth watching if you like this type of anime. Personally, I only like comedy anime and beautiful anime, so even though I was amazed by the first episodes, I don't think I'll be watching this one, since it's kind of the opposite of the type of anime I enjoy. It's not an action anime, by the way, it's a mix of mystery of horror. If you like similar anime like from the New World and Jujutsu Kaisen, you may like this. Dealing with Mikadono sisters is a breeze. This is a romantic comedy harem anime with a short king. The protagonist of this series is the son of a genius actress. He inherited from her beautiful face, but unfortunately not her acting talents. The boy lived his whole life under the shadow of his mother. Everyone expected him to be talented at something, and he always failed to meet their expectations no matter what he tried. Now he has transferred to a high school full of prodigies who also expect him to excel at something. The top three prodigies of the school are the Mikadono sisters. Each sister is the best at something different. One is the greatest martial arts student, one is a shogi player and a genius at academics, and the other is an actress. They confront the boy about his lack of talent, but the boy, who is used to his mediocrity, is able to fight back by asserting how average he is, befuddling the genius sisters. All the protagonist wanted was to live a quiet life in high school. But unfortunately for him, he isn't living with his family. He transferred to a school in another city and will live with a friend of his mother, a man who has 3 daughters. That's right, this is one of those animes where the mediocre boy is forced into some sort of relationship with the girl at the top of the school. Except it's 3 girls, and the relationship is that they're living together now. Your average harem protagonist would be sweating bullets in this situation, but our little guy is a Giga Chad who refuses to be walked over. It turns out that the sisters have an unexpected weakness. They are Choroi. I like this anime, and I think it has potential. It may get a bit repetitive, but the characters seem to at least have a life of their own, which is not something I can say about most anime in the harem genre. If you enjoy anime with reverse gender roles, like our in High School Host Club or Shikamori's Not Just a Cutie, then you'll probably like this anime. Lord of Mysteries. This anime makes absolutely no sense at all. I have no idea what is going on in most episodes. Unfortunately, it's beautiful, so I'm forced to watch it. This is a native Isekai anime in which the protagonist reincarnates in what seems to be a different era or something like that. I don't know, I have no idea. What is important is that the protagonist can use mystical arts, such as rituals and divination, and he reincarnates in a world that also has mystical arts. It seems he was doing some ritual, and he accidentally transmigrated. Who thought it was a good idea to use the word transmigration in the subtitles? After years of learning Japanese, I now need an English dictionary to understand a Chinese anime. Anyway, it turns out the protagonist got in the body of someone who was supposed to have died, but didn't. He has all of his memories and decides to live a quiet life in another world pretending everything is normal until he figures a way to return to his original world. Unfortunately for him, it seems the person he was before transmigrating was involved in an incident with a powerful magic book, and now he is being targeted for it by both evil guys and some lawful organization. The investigators have powerful supernatural abilities and invite him to join their organization in order to be protected from the evil guys. Separate from that, and perhaps the funniest part of this anime, is that when the protagonist tried a ritual to return home, he accidentally ended up in a separate dimension and accidentally summoned 2 other characters from far away. The characters recognize his feat as something only a powerful entity could manage and immediately start revering him, while he has absolutely no idea what just happened. If you enjoy beautifully animated anime like Violet Evergarden or Demon Slayer, you might enjoy this. You probably won't understand any of it, but it will be an enjoyable time nonetheless. Gachiakuta, this is an edgelord action anime. People seem to have great hopes for it, but I don't. I could tell in the first 5 minutes that watching this anime will lead to a massive disappointment later, and the second episode just cemented my beliefs. It's going to be trash, trust me. In this anime, society is divided into 2 groups. The rich guys who are extremely clean and the poor filthy guys in the slums. The rich guys discard everything into the trash immediately instead of trying to fix it, while our protagonist, who is poor, obviously, rummages through their trash and is always trying to recycle things. Is this a deep commentary on how wasteful modern society has become? Is it about wealth inequality? Or is it just yet another stupid anime with the most unrealistic portrayal of human beings ever made just to try to manipulate the audience into caring about the protagonist? I'm too old to fall for these tricks. If you want to pull my heartstrings, you need to be way more subtle than this. This is parody level, and it would be funny if it wasn't taking itself so seriously. A guy literally screamed trash just because some trash touched him like he was just infected with some disease or something. If you enjoy revenge action anime with pure edge, like Ragna Crimson and Akame ga Kill, you might enjoy this. The white mage who was banished from the hero's party is picked up by an S-rank adventurer. This white mage is too out of the ordinary. You can tell from the title it's bad. It's really bad. The best thing I can say about this is that at least it's not an isekai. This is yet another of those anime with an extremely overpowered character with 0 common sense that has self-esteem problems and severely underestimates his abilities. But the real problem is that it's not even funny. You don't even need to watch the anime to figure this out. Just look at the cover. Too generic. Anime girls in the front and our protagonist is at the back. Does that mean that these girls have a personality worth watching? Absolutely not. In this anime, the protagonist is found as a child and raised by some powerful magician woman who trains him to be a powerful mage. That's not because this woman has a good heart. She just thought he would have potential. What a waste of potential. Imagine all the ways you could have written this. You could have made this a touching story about a powerful magician who finds a war orphan and decides to start a new life raising him. You could go the opposite extreme and say that he was raised without love to become an anti-demon lord weapon of mass destruction. How does someone take such a good opportunity and waste it with the most mediocre and bland writing possible? When the story starts like this, it's a massive red flag that the author will not commit to anything, so the whole anime is going to be the same boring thing for all 12 episodes. Just take a look at the hero, whose party our protagonist was banished from. He's a generic scum. Why do you even need all this backstory when all you want to write is a generic slice of life fantasy? If you enjoy similar anime like I Parry Everything or The Unaware Atelier Meister, you might enjoy this. You probably won't though. The Water Magician. This anime is one of the most boring anime this season. Literally nothing happens for 3 whole episodes, and I'm pretty sure nothing is going to keep happening for the rest of it. To make matters worse, this is an Isekai anime with an overpowered protagonist that has the personality of a blank sheet of paper. I mean, just look at him. Does this look like a good protagonist? Wait, sorry, that's the mage from the other anime. The Water Mage is this one. Too many generic anime about overpowered mages this season, hard to keep track of them all. In this anime, the protagonist dies or something. The plot is so forgettable I forgot if he died or not. Then God or something makes him reincarnate for some reason. I also forgot the reason. He spends all his time in this conveniently built house in the middle of the woods where he learns to farm and hunt monsters, all by himself. Yes, this takes a whole episode. That's 20 minutes of your life to watch the most unnecessary training montage ever made that literally nobody asked for. What is the logic behind all this? Did the author really think that God making the protagonist overpowered directly would be too generic? So instead, the author made God make the protagonist spawn somewhere where he could just train indefinitely in the ways of both sword and water magic until he becomes overpowered. Now you have the exact same end result, but it takes way more time. Anyway, in the second episode, he finally finds another person. I'm not joking. They really took a whole episode for our protagonist to find another person. It was all training montage. I can't stress this enough. The protagonist wants to help them go back to civilization, which takes another whole episode. It's just 20 minutes of the main character doing something with water magic and the other guy reacting. Finally, by the third episode, we reach a town. And now, obviously, the main character is joining the Adventurers Guild. If you enjoy similar isekai slop about a guy who spends a lot of time training in a conveniently placed house, like in I got a cheat skill in another world and became unrivaled in the real world too, or isekai about a bro who goes broing with his bros like in the faraway paladin, then there is a tiny chance you might enjoy this. The Shy Hero and the Assassin Princesses. In this anime, Anemone, an overpowered female assassin, was hired to assassinate the hero, Todo, and Seal, the overpowered daughter of the demon lord, was tasked with assassinating the hero, Todo. And Goa, an overpowered dominatrix, wants to enslave the hero, Todo. The hero, Todo, is also overpowered. Everyone is overpowered in this anime. But the hero has a weakness. He is extremely shy and passes out just from having contact with a woman. No, that's not like me. That's a bit ridiculous. Even while unconscious, he manages to survive the attempts at his life. Meanwhile, the 3 girls in his harem of death form a beautiful friendship based on their rivalry. This is the story of how they go adventuring around the world while trying to assassinate the hero. I absolutely love this anime. So much happens in the first 10 minutes that I can tell it's going to be fun, even if the plot sounds a bit repetitive. The characters look great and feel alive, and that's what really matters. If you like similar comedy anime like Senyu, or anime with a protagonist that fights with his bare fists like One Punch Man, you'll probably like this. New Saga. This is a time travel fantasy anime about a hero who goes back in time after slaying the demon lord and saving the world. It's not an isekai, which is good, but it quickly turns into a generic harem anime, which is bad. It's also a bit edgy. Although the hero succeeded in defeating the demon lord, he only managed this feat after humanity had been decimated by the demon lord's army. The main character has seen his fair share of dead bodies in the human versus demons war. He has lost many of his friends and lovers. Now that he managed to return to a time before the war has even started, he intends to use his knowledge of future events to avoid all the tragedy and massive loss of life he had experienced. He starts by talking with his mom. Why his mom? Because his mom is an overpowered mage, of course. She has knowledge about all sorts of spells, and maybe even knows about magic to travel to the past. How convenient. This anime is a bit of a wild card. Generally speaking, it's bad and I probably shouldn't be watching this, but I can smell the faintest hint of brilliance in the writing that makes me want to see how it's going to end. If you enjoy similar anime with time travel like Punchline or Steins Gate, then you might enjoy this. Niot of the Living Cat. In this anime, the protagonists work at a cat cafe, which is a place where customers can play with cats, and then the Neondemic started. People started turning into cats upon touching cats. This is a sad day for all cat lovers, or a happy day, I'm not sure which. It's a zombie anime, but the zombies are cats. If that was all that this anime was, it would be extremely boring, but the author of this series is a genius. In this anime, literally everyone in the entire world loves cats. They love cats so much that even after the Nyandemic started, they can't bring themselves to hurt the cats. In a generic zombie anime, you solve the zombie problem by shooting all zombies in the head. But in this anime, using violence against cats is not an option. This is without doubt one of the funniest animes this season, and probably one of the funniest anime of all time. One of our protagonists is a man who lost his memories, and all he remembers are facts about cats, so there is your classical zombie mystery element as well. The characters are extremely dramatic, which is great. To the audience, their behavior makes no sense, which is funny, because in their heads they are doing everything they can to stop the catpocalypse. The whole situation is hilarious. If you enjoy comedy anime with zombies, like Zom 100 Bucket List of the Dead, or comedy anime, in which characters surpass common sense like Cromarty High School, you'll probably like this. Don Da Don, second season. If you haven't watched the first season, you should. This is a truly awesome action anime about ghosts, aliens, powerful old ladies, and a beautiful love story, all mixed together in the most amazing way. In this anime, the protagonist, Ayase Momo, is a Gyaru who is nice to Arakas. She gets involved with a shy, nerdy boy who believes in aliens. He starts talking about his hobby nonstop, but she doesn't want to hear about it because she just broke up with her boyfriend and isn't in the mood to hear about conspiracy theories. Also, she believes in ghosts instead. The two get in an argument about which one is real, and to prove this, they both accept a courage test. Momo goes somewhere that is said to have aliens, while the boy goes somewhere that is said to have ghosts. There is no way I'm going to spoil what happens next, so go watch the anime if you are interested. If you like similar anime, actually I'm not sure if there exists any anime that is similar to this. This is too unique and original. A better way to describe this anime is if someone took Sara Zahanmai and mixed it together with Mob Psycho 100. If that sounds good to you, I recommend watching it. I was reincarnated as the 7th prince so I can take my time perfecting my magical ability, second season. This is an anime about an overpowered protagonist who fights using magic. I know what you are thinking. This is the 4th anime this season about an overpowered mage, and the 2nd about an overpowered mage that reincarnates. To make matters worse, this guy is also trained in the ways of the sword. So why should you watch this generic native isekai slop instead of the other 3? Because this one is the best one. Basically, let's say that greatness of an anime is directly proportional to how much character the main character has. We can rank the overpowered mage anime this season thus. At the bottom of the list, F tier, we have the white mage. He is just bland, boring, and generic in every single frame he appears, completely devoid of character or soul. That's what makes the anime not worth watching. The second one from the bottom, D tier, is the water mage. The water mage is a bit better than the white mage because at least he has some semblance of personality, but his personality feels a bit too forced considering his backstory. It's almost as if his personality is actually the author's personality, who is simply self-inserting as the protagonist of his story. Next, we have the Silent Witch. This is clearly an A-tier character. She has very obvious quirks. Anyone can tell immediately the sort of things she likes and dislikes. Some may argue that she's an one-dimensional character, but it's okay to be one-dimensional if your dimension is large enough. Then at the top of this ranking of characteristics, we have Lloyd de Salum. Lloyd is a triple S plus ultra-tier character. He's an absolute insane batshit crazy psychopath, and I love him. His emotional range is wider than Don Da Don's palette. This is what makes this anime top of the shelf. It's a proper comedy anime with an overpowered main character, who is fun to watch. If you like anime with overpowered main characters that cast epic spells and are insane like the Eminence in Shadow, or anime where the male protagonist has the most character in the whole show, like in Welcome to Demon School Irumakun, then you'll probably like this. My Dress Up Darling, Season 2. In this anime, the protagonist, Gojo Wakana, is the grandson of a doll craftsman, and he falls in love with the craft. He starts practicing to make dolls someday and gets very good at making clothes, although he isn't very good with drawing the faces. Unfortunately for him, a girl told him he was gross for playing with dolls despite being a boy. That was really mean, and now he has self-esteem problems. I really like how his backstory is portrayed in this anime. It's neither over the top nor is it too dry. It's short, such a small thing that feels almost trivial. But it's these small things that trigger huge waves in the lives of people. In high school, the protagonist has no friends because he thinks they'll find his hobbies weird. He envies one of the most popular girls in his class, Kiragawa Marin, who seems to have lots of friends. One day, the sewing machine at his house stops working, and he has the idea of using the one at school instead to make the clothes for a doll. To his surprise, she catches him sewing. He was already thinking his life was over, but it turns out that this girl is a Gyaru who is nice to Arakas. In fact, she is the otaku. She wants to become a cosplayer cosplaying as a character of one of her favorite anime. She only needs someone who can make clothes to help her. This anime is beautifully animated for what should be just a trashy slice of life. It's also very funny in general. So naturally, it's one of my favorite animes. If you enjoy romance anime where the protagonist keeps thinking he isn't a good match for the heroine, like in Beastars, or just trashy anime in general like Prison School, then you'll probably like this anime. Dr. Stone, 4th season, Science Future Part 2. In this anime, humanity has been petrified by a mysterious green light that spread around the whole world. 3,700 years later, our protagonists wake up from their stone prisons. Without the human civilization around, Earth has been reset to the Stone Age. Among our protagonists is a genius boy with encyclopedic knowledge about science. He decides to use his scientific genius to restart human civilization, and he also wants to decipher the mystery behind the petrification. This is a beautiful anime about the history of science and technology. The characters recreate technologies and techniques that were used in the past in real life, such as methods to produce wine out of grapes. The author makes efficient use of his cast. Each character not only has a unique personality, but also a unique ability that contributes to the team. For example, just as one of the protagonists is a scientist with strong brains and weak muscles, the other boy has infinite stamina and no brains inside his head. If you enjoy similar anime in which each character has a special ability, such as JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Part 3, Stardust Crusaders, or edutainment like Cells at Work, then you'll probably enjoy this show. Do you agree with my opinions? Are my predictions going to be correct in 3 months? Leave a comment so I can read what you think. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more anime recommendations.